broadcasting alive from the Green Room Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the At Home Show with Josh Carey and David Bates, celebrating 25 years of home and garden wisdom. Without further ado, your hosts, Josh Carey and David Bates.
Oh, welcome in, everybody. It is the At Home Show. It is your Saturday morning tradition. It's been coming to you for over 25 years now. Hey, and you know what, David Bates? The Great White Plague is upon us. It's like our 25th anniversary of that Great White Plague, but it's been going on longer than that, from what I understand. We'll address that.
It certainly has,
and it is. It's going to be a topic of discussion today. We have an action-packed show this morning. We have in-studio guests. We have a giveaway. So everybody tune, shake the dog, wake the neighbors, and let them know that. Tune into the At Home Show. You can find us anywhere on social media. I mean, anywhere. You can find a link.
Yeah.
It's there. But you know what it's also doing this morning, David Bates?
Well, we're having weather today.
Yes, we're having weather. Oh, by the way, there's David. Yeah, there he is. He's back in studio.
Right here.
Whoa. Hey, David.
I was, I have to take off every now and again. And so went on a few little travels around and, perhaps we'll discuss at some point La Canal de Panama, but for now we'll just discuss the weather.
That's easy for me.
And today is Saturday, the 25th of February. We're looking at 50 degrees for a high today, so a seasonably mild temperature. We're not talking record highs like we were a couple of days ago, where it was ridiculously hot.
Wonderful.
Little rain this morning, but that's going to clear out of here in a bit. Tomorrow is going to just be cloudy, 62, 76 on Monday. You see that warming trend coming back up again. And we're going to have some rain, maybe some wind. Tuesday, partly cloudy. And then we get some, as March rolls in, I would call that like a lion. If you're using rainfall as a parameter, because it looks like we're going to have copious rainfall the first 3 days, and perhaps be weather aware of those first 3 days of March, because depending on how some of these fronts track or whatever, there could be some nasty weather come out of it. So just everyone be aware going into midweek. Stay tuned to local weather sources and be prepared on that. We do have rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It should be nice again by next Saturday, 59 degrees and 66 on Sunday, as it currently says. Right now it's 44 degrees. Let's take a quick look at the Nashville. That's not the one I want. I want that one.
You want that one?
I want that one. There's the radar.
We're gonna have that.
And you see that we've got storms that are kind of passing through, and we're already probably 2/3 of the way through that storm system. So the rain will get out of here reasonably quickly. And if we look over here on the rain gauge and everything at the Bates Nursery weather station, we have had 0.22 of an inch today. We had a little bit of rain in 24 hours, 0.82 for the week. We're up to 3.12 for the month, 931 for the year. So that's probably going to wind us up. We might squeeze out a little bit more of that. But again, it is 44 degrees here in the Music City, and we are really thrilled to have our guest and dear friend, and probably the most frequent guest over the many years that we've been doing this show together, Josh.
Yes.
Randall Lantz. And Randall needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway.
We got a Randall cam set up.
Yeah.
Look at that 3-shot.
Look at him. He's over there.
In amongst the flowers.
Amongst the flowers, and getting everyone ready for the 2023 edition of the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show. What is the theme this year, Randall?
Sounds of spring.
Sounds of spring.
Some birdies. Actually, we've got a train garden, so I think we're going to have train whistles.
Not those sounds.
That's going to be some other sounds. Yeah. Sounds of spring.
Well, since it's going to rain on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
That's a great thing for the show. What else are you going to do on a rainy Thursday or Friday except go to the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show?
There you go. It's really well timed.
Yes.
It's always a good sign that spring is here upon us when you know the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show. And by the way, you can go out to their website, which coincidentally, I'm sure it's just a coincidence, Nashville Lawn and Garden Show.com.
Yeah.
So
all the stuff's there. Pretty much.
I'm just saying it was available, so they just used it. So there it is. And you see that lovely goldfinch hidden in front of forsythia. I would say that's
all
what
that
is in the
yellow.
background. Is you can hardly see it.
Right. It's all that yellow.
So the sounds of spring there, and it goes on Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah. Sunday.
So I know you have a lot of things going on, Randall. Why don't you kind of just give us an overview of what attendees will likely see when they arrive?
Yeah. Well, the show is in the new buildings at the fairground, this will be the third time we've done it there. We had a little COVID pause, but it's a different kind of thing. If you haven't been there, it gives us an entirely new look because you walk in and you've got this hugely tall ceiling in the main room. What they call Expo 1 is where the gardens are located, along with some vendor booths. But lots of gardens. I think we've got 15 different gardens this year, and everything from a butterfly garden to we have trains. We have chickens. We have some chickens.
Cool.
And I think we're going to have some baby alpacas that'll be there at part of the time. That's going to be
no rhinoceros garden.
No rhinoceros garden this year, and no. Somebody was talking about the alligator that's in New York. We're not going to do that.
You're not going to do that?
No, we're not going to do that. But all kinds of things. There'll be people that build gardens, so you have landscape contractors doing things. You've got the Orchid Society. You've got the Bonsai Society. The Bonsai folks last year just did an amazing thing. It was just, well, they all did. And then the orchids, if you know orchids at all, and now that we're doing these indoor plants everywhere, and you can buy phalaenopsis in every grocery store.
Excuse me?
It's something, yeah. So I think it would be nice to go and find out how to take care of these things that you've got. So all these gardens have people with them who have information. Master gardeners, we have the Williamson County Garden Club, which started out as a master gardener group they won Best of Show last year. We have the Davidson County Master Gardeners. So lots of things. And then we have vendor booths with everything selling from plants to, I don't know that we have any mops this year. We used to have mops. But we have all varieties of stuff. And then we have people like the Daylily Society that are selling daylily divisions. So all of these daylilies, all these interesting, expensive things, you can go and get a small plant for a lot less than you would in a catalog price.
Is the oxalis vendor going to be there?
I don't know. I haven't seen the vendor list.
Okay.
The oxalis, you mean the weed oxalis?
No. The shamrocks.
The shamrocks. We're going to have some. I think I bought some. But so it's going to be a good time. And a lot of people still are not sure about how to get into the fairgrounds. A new now we call it the Fairgrounds Nashville. The new bridge is opened.
Hooray.
Off Craighead. So that is a new way to get in. Parking is still a challenge, I will admit that, but there's parking around. You may get shuttled here, shuttled there, but the parking is available. The lecture series is all up and ready to go. The lecture series is on the web. So it's all ready we're ready to roll, and it's hard to believe that we go in on Monday. So that's just a couple days. And right now we're rocking this weather. We've gone through all the stuff.
Yep.
And now it's fun. I know you all have talked many times about the freeze damage out there and try to go out and find shrubs. And you look at these shrubs, Dave, you know about this. You look at these shrubs that are back in the retail establishment and you go, do I really want to plant autoluke and laurel again? Do I really want to plant hollies again? And I think that's a good question that we need to answer sometime. Maybe you all have answered that. But cryptomerias, do we really want to plant cryptomerias again? So we're looking at those things. When you're doing a show, you look at those things too. Do you want to put these things back in and talk about them, or do we let them go. I don't know.
Well, I my personal thought is that the laurels, I believe, will largely come back
From the ground.
They may be killed back halfway, but there's no damage to the root system. They're going to push back out. The cryptomerias, on the other hand, now those got whacked, and you don't see conifers generally being able to recover from such kind of conditions that we have the freeze blast like we had that occurred. Large established ones died. Now, when will we have that again? I don't know. We've not seen those kind of conditions previously, at least not in my memory.
Not at that time frame anyway. Yeah.
Not where it was so abrupt. We had a bit of cold weather, but we certainly had not had a sufficient amount to get anything ready for something that cold. So it's still going to be interesting over the coming weeks to observe what plants are doing. But I would think that the cryptomerias and are going to be more suspect than anything. When they get that toasty look, they rarely recover. Right. Austin, what do you got on that?
By the way, that's Austin and Carrie over there.
Hi.
Yeah, we do have them.
We forgot
studio.
Tyler too.
I'm still here.
Okay.
We got the
So what do you
6-pack
say?
in here today.
Yeah.
And we're glad to have
So
all
what'd
of
you
the
say,
expertise we have. We are talking lawn and garden show, and I almost said fair.
Yeah.
That shows you how long I've been around, Randall.
You'll be surprised how many people still say that.
Randall and I, in all honesty, Randall and I have known each other more than 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more like 55 years at least. So it's
Pretty close. Yeah.
We go way back, but we are going to have some. I don't know. You guys have come up with some ways that we will be giving some folks opportunities to win tickets to get into the lawn and garden show.
Right.
So, and of course, we have questions out there that come in during the week. Through the newsletter that I put out every week and through social media. So perhaps we need to direct some direction and be about it.
Yeah, I'll just jump in. And Hannah on the Bates Facebook page says, loved the show last year. So there's some props for you, Randall.
Thanks. Good.
And before we get going, Jude Wilder Roberts says, good morning, and a shout out to Caroline for transplanting my staghorn for me yesterday.
Yay.
It's beautiful.
Right.
That was a fun pot up, and Austin helped me. So.
I love that fun.
Not
part
everybody knows how to do that. Those are a little,
that's
there's a little art involved in that.
They can be tricky. It was a cool one, too. I wish we had a photo of it.
Speaking of cool ones, before we jump to the questions, I got a question for Randall that I saw a notification from the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show that on Sunday that there's going to be a unique new feature with the art exhibits. That it's going to be live. That they're going to be building the bouquets that they normally do.
Oh, that's the floral gallery that we have is just spectacular. And
Right.
as I tell people all the time, the floral gallery is not what you put on your dining room table.
No.
These things are 8 feet tall. Some of them go from the ground almost to the ceiling. But these are art displays, and so
It's always, consistently, it's my favorite
Me too.
part of the show every year.
And
It's just spectacular, some of the work that is done
it's
on
very, very dramatic. And Kathy Bates, who organizes this, is going to do demonstrations on how to do, put these things together and that sort of thing. So Kathy is just spectacular. I mean, she's superb.
Well, I heard it was
no
gonna be more
relation
like
to the best of my knowledge.
That's right.
second cousin.
By the
on
way, I
your-
never
on
thought
your
about that
mother's
until
side?
that very moment. But no, I don't know that you all maybe
Okie doke.
could be related.
gonna-
But I mean, it's but the floral design gallery, and it's named for Joe Smith, who is our big buddy and friend that we lost a few years ago. But Joe's, when this was all started, the idea was to introduce people into new material, new colors of roses, new plants. And if you look at the florist world now, they're using foliage and things that who knows where they're getting these things. But it's an art thing, and it's amazing. And
They do this thing in Ecuador, and I have become better acquainted with the the area south of the United States, from Mexico down. But I have not been further south than Ecuador, but they have major rose growing. I mean, it's incredible how many roses they grow there. And they do some interesting things as far as coloring the roses by drawing up, you know, like we do with daffodils here in the springtime. As kids, you'll put food coloring in the water and stick them in there and it draws it up. They do the same thing with some roses and get some interesting effects on the roses that flower out of that. So, so, you know, there's all kinds of things that can be done. And it's always curious to see what people will come up with.
Yeah, I have some friends at Western Kentucky University, and they do some work with Ecuador. I mean, they take students and go to Ecuador and see what they're doing, and they're ag students. So they're doing some, and a lot of that, I think I'm right, is owned by the Dutch. They actually, they're doing production work that the Dutch are doing the cut flowers, or
that may well be the case. They're
working with the people from Ecuador.
Amazing amount of production they have going on, and
they're in the mountains.
One thing about Ecuador is don't let the clouds fool you. You're on the equator; it will fry you quickly. Fair-skinned folk, beware.
Yeah. Well,
very good. All right, well, let's go to questions.
Okay. All right, we have quite a few today, so we're probably not going to get to all of them, but we will answer them in our stories next week. So, I know you hate Leyland Cypress. What about gold rider or gold hinoki for a privacy screen?
All right, so gold rider is a type of Leyland Cypress, so it's just got very much golden foliage, but it's still very similar to, I mean, it is Leyland Cypress, it's just a cultivar off of that, so you could use that if you want. It is a fast-growing option. Gold hinoki cypress is beautiful, for sure, and it's an interesting specimen.
Yep.
But I think of it as a specimen rather than a screen for privacy. It's a little slow. When I say a little, it's kind of a lot slow. So if you really wanted privacy quickly, then golden hinoki is probably not for you. But as a focal point in a garden, in a conifer bed or a little Japanese feeling garden, it certainly would be beautiful.
You guys would love to sell a privacy screen of hinokis too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because they are a little pricey. You're right.
A couple 300 feet of them. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're pricey for what you get, and then they are a little slow. But like I said, as a specimen, they're great. And Gold Rider Leyland Cypress is pretty. I mean, really, if you like gold. You know what I found about gold? People either love gold or they hate it. They say like, oh, that's beautiful, or they say it looks like it's dead. So that's kind of, up to you. But Leyland Cypress is still okay, y'all. I mean, it's a fast-growing privacy screen. It just comes with a little bit of issues.
I would think in terms of ember waves, green giant arborvitae is a better choice personally. Now, they're not gold through the growing season, but they're gorgeous during the winter. And I really like that plant. I would love to develop an area at my own home to have some of those because they are stunning in the wintertime.
Yeah, and if you like gold options, arborvitae is a little bit better here. Now, still watch them during the summertime. Don't let them turn dry on you because they'll go. Y'all noticed that last summer.
Spider mites and bagworms.
Yep, they're out there. But anyway,
all the things.
All right.
Okay, we got
all right, explain this, listening crowd. Green giants don't look real great right now.
No.
So what's that about?
They took it a little bit worse than usual winters, but arborvitae does bronze every single winter. Every arborvitae does. They go this bronzy color, and this year they went a little bit more bronzy because it got a lot
really
cold.
Bronze.
So, but the backsides of their foliage still looks fine. They're still green all the way through. If you really get in there and look at it, they're going to be just fine. Arborvitae's plenty cold hardy,
except for the ones that got really thirsty last fall.
Yeah. That was I mean, if they were stressed going into this cold, they could succumb to that, but for the most part, green giants are going to be fine around town.
Thuga Gardens is in Maine, and so when we were talking about cold weather, when arborvitae something turned. I mean, this is
exactly
this is where they come from. Is that upper east area? Or
yes,
at least that's where I've been to Thuga Gardens, and the arborvitae there are trees.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So
we don't have to worry about arbs over the wintertime here. It's during the summertime we got to watch them.
And last summer was rough.
It was rough.
It was very rough on them. Very rough. Hey, let's take a moment and talk about EarthMix garden products, and we kind of touched on it a bit, talking about Josh's fascination with supernatural, and it is kind of the product that much of the EarthMix line is built around. It is the premium organic compost that really is supercharged with endo and ecto mycorrhizal fungi. It also has humic acid added to it. And if you don't know what those things are, I've got a newsletter I wrote this week from Bates Nursery, and we'll talk about that perhaps later on. That kind of explains it in a bit more detail, but let it suffice to say it gives plants the natural ability to greater access to nutrition that is in the soil already. And when you do that, particularly on plants that may have be stressed just a bit, and we've got a lot of those in our landscapes. EarthMix Supernatural is not sold as a fertilizer, but your plants don't know that. It's highly fertile. It gives you all the great benefits of a compost in that it adds a tremendous amount of organic material to your soil. So if you're looking for something to vitalize your plants, check out EarthMix Supernatural at your nearest local garden center, and you can find that by going to findearthmix.net. And if you go to the site earthmix.net and just click on the Find EarthMix tab, that will come up there, and in all of the locations around Middle Tennessee and Kentucky where that is available will magically display, if I can just talk long enough to let that happen. Ooh,
we'll just name a couple. How about Harpeth True Value over in Franklin?
Yeah, there's one in way out somewhere, but my map got zoomed out too far, so I'm going to abandon that. Let it suffice to say there are pins on there that if you zoom in on your browser at home, it'll take you to a location nearest you. And if they don't happen to have it, you might ask them to start carrying Supernatural. So remember, this success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use EarthMix garden products, and EarthMix is a proud sponsor of the 2023 Nashville Lawn and Garden Show. So
yes, you are.
Hey, and a shout out.
Certainly appreciate that.
Shout out to Jake and Holly for picking up a couple 3 bags over.
Now, are Jake and Holly, are they like co-joined twins, or because it's Jake and Holly, all one word
Jake
together.
But it's
Jake and Holly.
Jake and Holly. But it's it's Chang and Eng. Yeah, they're Chang and Eng kind of thing going on.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, if you're participating in a lot of these tree giveaways that are given away that are out there, and you can get all these different kinds of trees that are wrapped in newspaper and plastic, what you really need to put them in some EarthMix, man. I mean, and get them started. Whether you put
incorporate that in with your soil, it'll really make a big difference.
Or you can just start them in pots like I like to do, and let them get a little bit bigger until you find the spot that you want them to be. Got to do it. But
let's get back to the questions.
Let's do that,
yes,
David
let's
Bates.
do it. We've got a seed question. When should I plant wildflower seeds? Some sources say fall, while others say now. I know I'm going to plant some this week if I can get outside.
Yeah. Well, I planted some this week. I planted some lettuce this week.
That's not a wildflower.
It's not.
What are you thinking?
Wild lettuce?
Fine. It's fine. Yeah, y'all. If you want to plant them now, that's totally fine. The only thing is you have to watch. So if weather warms up and, seeds, we want to drop them and let them be natural. If they were going to be in nature, they would drop over the, in the fall, and they would germinate in the spring whenever weather is warm enough. So we can mimic that and do the same thing. We can drop them now and see whenever they come up. The thing is, if they do come up early and you have young seedlings and then we get, say, a cold night, a freeze or a frost, you have to be mindful of that. So you have to kind of watch the weather if you do it now. Now, if you want to avoid that altogether, just plant them at our normal planting time, which is roughly April 15th, is typically when we say we can kind of set out those warmer season crops. So, like I said, if you want to avoid frost and freezes later on with young plants, then do it later. But if you want to drop them now, there's nothing wrong with that, and you can potentially get a head start.
That, by the way, is still 6 weeks away.
Exactly.
Yes. For those of you who are looking at a calendar, it's very tempting to think, well, winter's over. Yeah. Well, and it largely may be, but it's not the largely part that concerns us.
No.
It's those single nights that if I was a betting kind of guy, I would be betting that it absolutely will happen, that we're going to have some cold weather yet, and this warm weather that we have comes, we need to not be having more of it. We need to have temperatures in the 50s and 60s at most, and let things come along slowly. But that won't, just because that's what I say doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. So be prepared, everyone. If you've got juiced up new growth on things, if you've got big sheets or other things you can have stashed away to cover plants, you may need them this spring. I just got a feeling.
Absolutely. And there's a seminar next Saturday, March 4th at the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show about wildflower, 10 o'clock.
There you go.
Got to go, so
Gotta
learn
get
all
there.
about them.
The lecture series is very extensive.
Yes.
And there's some of those of people that are in the industry that need pesticide recertification points to keep your certification going. Some of these lectures have points attached. So that's something for people that need those. Some of us always get right on the edge. And then we start again, I understand, in June again. But
You did that in college too, didn't you? You waited until right before the test.
That's right.
Okay, all right.
That's right. You got it. How'd you know that? But
I didn't go to class, so it didn't matter for me. So.
But that's one of the features. But yeah, there's some talks on some really cool stuff.
And this particular one looks like it's going to be of the Nashville Basin, so they're gonna know about what grows well here through history.
Right.
So very good, Caroline.
Caroline, here I go.
Caroline.
My pencil cactus started turning yellow at the base. Did I overwater? It's a little bit hard to say without seeing photos. So if it is like a bright yellow color or very vibrant, probably yes. That's a sign of root rot in pencil cactus. And if the base is kind of squishy, you probably did overwater it. Now there is a chance of saving it. I would suggest cutting that pencil cactus, depending on how large it is, at least an inch above that yellow spot. Let it callus over, stick it in some dry soil mix, and they root really, really quickly. You can use rooting hormone or not. Rooting hormone is just going to help speed it up. Now, if that color is more of a tan and it's kind of rough, that's going to be corking. So with my pencil cactus, that's probably reached like 10 feet tall over time, and I have to keep chopping it, the top of it is so heavy that the base of it has started corking. So it just looks like a tree kind of. And that's just a way of the plant protecting itself from all of that weight and making itself stronger. So if it's like a light tan color, kind of a brown, you're doing great. You didn't overwater it. If it is a yellow color and kind of mushy a little bit, then chances are you might have overwatered it and you're probably just going to want to cut it back. Pencil cactus can sit dry for a long time. I have not watered mine at all since I brought it in at the beginning of October. So it's just been sitting in my living room. It looks fantastic. It hasn't grown at all, but I just let it sit dry for the entire winter.
Isn't pencil cactus a euphorbia?
It is a euphorbia, yes. So it's not a true cactus. But one cool thing about pencil cactus, they don't have any spines or thorns. So they're not going to be pokey, but they are poisonous. So
I wonder if it's a number 2 pencil, David.
Depends on how old that plant is.
I wonder how
Josh.
long the euphorbia lasts.
Oh, good one, everybody.
Hey, let's tease our ticket giveaway now, folks. We're going to do this via a audience participation, whether you do it on the At Home Show Facebook page, the Bates page, YouTube. We're going to take the first correct answer will be a winner, and then subsequently follow. Now we're going to do this 2 ways because we've got the tickets that you'll need to pick up here at Bates. There'll be 2 pairs of 2, so that's total of 2. 4. Yeah, that
sounds
how
like
that works.
4 to me.
Yeah, that sounds
2
like 4, but you
pair
have
of 2.
so you'll have to pick up the winners of the first contest will have to come to Bates. The next 4 winners will have their name at will call at the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show. So that's the way we'll go with that. But start putting your thinking caps on because we've got some interesting questions coming up here. So we'll find out how we're going to do that in just a minute. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Gosh, you've got me all curious now, Josh.
You got
Got
pens
you
and
wondering.
needles and pencils and needles.
man.
Okay.
Okay, well, while we're thinking on that, let's get a crepe myrtle question in. We had quite a few, so let's bring them all into one. Tyler, did you have
We have
something?
some live YouTube questions as well.
Okay,
Okay.
so do you
We
want to
have
ask that now?
It's whatever you want to do.
Go with the crepe murder.
Go, yes.
Let's get it.
So we
Yeah.
have questions on when to prune young crepe myrtle, when the correct time to prune them are, and how.
Okay.
All right, here you go.
Josh, are you going to
3:30.
Yes, there it
3:30
is
this
at
afternoon, cut your
3:30.
No,
It's
so
going to quit raining, so it'd be a good time.
We cut crepe myrtles when they're dormant. Okay, so when they don't have leaves over the wintertime, that's the best time to see what you're cutting. First off, you don't have leaves in your way. You can see all those stems, and that's when the timing is. So you can still do it now. I mean, I haven't even trimmed mine up yet, and I need to do it. It's getting kind of big, and I need to cut it.
You need to get on it.
Yeah, I do, because things are happening early this year, it seems like. So that's the timing. How to do it, especially on a young crepe myrtle. You may not have to do much on a young one. The key is to start and get the shape that you really want and that you can see like later on. So if you want to, for me, I've always said this, I'm kind of like a 3 to 5 main stem kind of guy when it comes to crepe myrtle. I like that vase shape and multi-stemmed. You can go with a single stem if you want to and make it look like just a tree form crepe myrtle. You can do that. But when it's young, just pick those stems you want to keep and then take all the rest of them away to achieve what you want later. And like I said, that nice open vase shape, get everything out of the interior of the plant, and you'll have a good looking crepe myrtle later on. So if you want to,
I believe this is the year when people will abandon the single stem look because nature will dictate otherwise.
Yeah, buddy.
I think so too. I'm already kind of interested in what's going to happen with the crepe myrtle.
Crepe myrtles did not, though. Like, I think it was 2 years ago, 2 or 3 seasons ago, crepe myrtles did what I call the bird nest effect. And that's whenever they were all up and their stems came in on each other and they just were like, it looked like a bird's nest kind of. And that's when you knew, like, they died back bad that year. And you see that all over town. You can even still see remnants of that, of people that decided not to cut those and just let them be. So they regrew from the roots. So you had this plant kind of below this bird nest on top. Like I said, I still see a few crepe myrtles that have that damage to them now that didn't get cut. But I will say, after this freeze event, I have not seen any of the bird nesting going on with the crepe myrtle. So I don't know if they're going to suffer damage or not, but we'll just have to see on that. They'll come back from the roots. I know they will, but I got a feeling they're coming back from the stems as well this year. I don't predict any damage on them. That's just me, though.
Very, 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 very cool.
We've got...
Yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
No, we've got Nina on YouTube here, who's was observing my distyllium vintage jade looks horrible.
Yeah, it does.
Is that also a similar kind of effect? And then
No.
should I prune all the dead tips off the hollies now, or wait? It's dead about 6 inches. So,
Okay.
I mean, my hollies look about the same right now, too.
Yeah, hollies took a shot. Distyllium probably took one of the worst shots. They're a little less hardy than really anything we kind of sell around
And
here.
I'm gonna combine this. Perry asked the question: how do you feel about distyllium for our zone? Are they hardy enough?
It depends. So if they've been planted for a while, they'll probably come back, I would think, but maybe just from the root system, because a lot of times distyllium, even on a normal winter, can suffer some top damage. It does happen. We see it a lot out here, even as well as our distyllium in pots. We see the topmost growth go this kind of off-whitish, yellowish kind of color, and it's very easy to just trim back the tips in the spring and watch them reflush, which they typically do every year. This year might be a different scenario, okay? The distyllium might be totally dead. It really could, especially if you newly planted it. So that's unfortunate, but yeah. And what was the second? What was that? It was the
Should I prune the dead
holly.
tips off the hollies?
Hollies, yeah. So you can see hollies. I've noticed hollies too. They've got a lot of green stems at the tips, but then at the very tips, they're black. If you see black means no good. You may as well just cut that off if you want. But do not cut any of those green stems that you see that are still up, because they have buds forming on those that are probably going to crack leaves soon. And I would assume hollies would suffer little to no damage besides the leaf loss that they took over the wintertime. But I've got no problem thinking they're coming back, especially since those tips are, or those stems are green.
Is it just me, but I'm sort of glad the distylliums are gone.
It's just you.
You're not a distyllium fan?
Yeah.
The problem with distyllium is, that's the thing. Like, if people don't want to use laurels when they come out here, they say, what's a good alternative to laurel? I always go to distyllium. But I do let people know that distyllium suffers some top burn a lot of times over the wintertime. But it looks a lot like laurel, but it comes with less issues typically.
Like honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Privet. It looks like privet.
A little bit, but
I'm
give it
believing
some
it's going to
credit.
come back from
Yeah,
the roots,
I like
but
it.
it likely will get killed back to the ground.
I
There,
think so, too.
Don Shadow told me years ago that that's a plant that it's not a bad plant, but it's not extremely winter hardy. So, fortunately, it's not a plant that people buy for its flowering ability. It's just green foliage. So if it does come back from the root system, which I think is reasonably likely, it'll come back more quickly than you might think. So time will tell on that. The temperatures were not cold for so long and the ground was not dry. So I think there's a good chance they'll come back out. But again, people need to be patient and give things a bit. I had a fig I was going to dig up. Twice I have been going to dig this fig at my house up.
I dig figs.
Sure, it was dead in May and found one leaf down below the ground level. I let it go. And of course, it's 8 by 8 feet again now. And of course, this year I'll have to cut it back again because it will surely be killed way back. Yep. So that's the nature of it.
Let's give away some tickets. What do you say?
Okay.
All right. Now, this first contest, it's going to be for the first 2 correct answers at any of the social media platforms to this question. And this one will be probably for the older at-homies or the long-time viewers and listeners of the At-Home Show, David Bates.
Yeah.
David had a dog, and I had a dog. They both had the same name.
Actually, the dog I had is still living.
Okay. Well, I had a dog. You still have a dog.
And I'll even go a step further. And she's 17 years old now, living with my daughter, Sarah.
That's Sarah. That's not the dog's name. That's his daughter's name.
No, the dog's name is not Sarah. That's my daughter's name. So,
okay. And it was a very popular name. So
it is what in Spanish would be referred to as a pretty name.
Yes. Name. Okay. So Kay Stewart's got a pair, and so does Jude. So that took care of those on the Facebook page. All right. Now you guys have to come to the nursery to come see these, and you need to.
And of course, the answer was
Bella.
Bella.
Okay. Very good. All righty.
Let's get some more questions in. That was quick.
Do it.
Wow. Good work, everybody.
Everybody remembers Bella. She used to walk the lot. She was great.
All right. I need a tall bamboo screen. What variety?
Don't
do it.
The variety of do not.
Don't do it.
I'm not even going to give you a variety because I don't want you to do it. Bamboo's bad, y'all. Bamboo is bad.
It is a highly invasive grass. And most people don't realize it is in fact, a grass. That's what it is classified as. And it highly invasive. If you've got soil that's really of any quality, but the only way you could really do well with bamboo is if you were to trench 2 deep trenches, say at least 3 feet deep, and pour them full of concrete, make them about 3 feet apart, parallel to each other.
Then napalm.
Where you could make a container in the ground.
Yeah.
And never let them jump over the top. That's the tough part. Not letting them jump over the top. They will do that. Or just don't use them. Use something else. They're
bad.
Just don't do it.
One of the things, I've got a little grove that started with 3 little plants left over from the Lawn and Garden Show.
It's not lucky either, is it?
We got about a half acre of it now.
Okay.
But it falls over when it gets caught. And this time, the winter got hold of it.
Oh,
so
it did,
we had to spend a half a day just cutting it off the road because it's in our greenhouse area. So it was, it falls down too.
Yeah.
Now, don't tell Adam Turtle we were talking about this way. You won't be happy.
Okay, we've got
we don't want him being mad.
No.
planting question. So let's get it in there.
Get there.
What can I plant now in the same bed before I plant tomatoes?
Oh, radishes.
Ooh.
Lettuce for sure.
Yes.
I think it's a really good time to plant lettuce this week, I think.
Someone already did it. We've already talked about it.
Radishes are going in tomorrow.
Beets, I think you could probably get away with. They're kind of some short crops. Because, we're still, like David said earlier, we're 6 weeks away from like tomato planting season. So that's a pretty good amount of time to get some stuff in. And like I said, the lettuce is great. I mean, you can even do some cool season stuff from seed. The kales, the leafy stuff. Collards. Those are all things you can
what
just
about
eat.
dill?
It's
It's a little too early for dill.
too early for dill.
Too early for dill.
Yeah. I mean, you can drop it, but it won't come up for a minute.
Okay.
Like weeks.
I'm waiting for the great white
Plague.
plague to kill every kale in the world. That's my least favorite thing on earth.
You don't like the kale?
That is
don't like
my
kale?
least favorite thing on earth.
Oh, man.
I
like
love kale.
That is
I
the
do too.
nastiest.
Has your
plant.
doctor prescribed it for you to eat in salads, Randall? I just want to know.
No.
Now you
Have
seem
you tried-
real mad at it.
Have you tried wilted kale?
I tried wilted kale. It's what almost killed me once. 2 o'clock
How
in the
about
morning.
baked kale chips?
Oh, yeah, man.
2 o'clock in the morning. Thinking I was having a heart attack, and that was fake then.
Oh, wow.
Oh man.
Since then, I've learned differently. But
So we've got a fiddle leaf fig question.
Okay.
I want my fiddle leaf fig to branch out, but I'm scared to chop it. I need some motivation. Love that Austin said, of course. Your motivation is to just do it. I love chopping fiddle leaf fig. Ficus, just across the board, responds really well to pruning. So don't be scared. You can cut now. You can cut in the summer. I suggest waiting a month or two until the days are a little bit longer, and it's going to start branching out sooner. But just take that cutting down, probably a little bit lower than you think you need to if that plant is grown into its space, so you have plenty of time for it to grow. But cut just up above a leaf node, so where that leaf comes onto your branch, cut right above it, and then you will get like 1 to 4 new branches pushing out from that spot. So they're really, like I said, they're really easy to cut on. I cut one probably in October one year, and it didn't branch out until May. So it might be a little while until you see some new growth, but I don't think I've ever cut a ficus and didn't have it start growing again.
If you're real scared, bring it to me.
Or me.
I will chop that thing.
he'll use a sawzall on it.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, don't let Austin
I
use a
won't
sawzall
sawzall.
on it. Don't do that.
But I will chop it for you.
But yeah, if you do want to bring it into the nursery, we can help you prune it. We can show you how it's done. But it's a really fun thing to do. I chop on my fiddle leaf fig all the time because I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Got a quick one over here on the Facebook page. Christina wants to know her camellias look like twigs.
Yeah.
Cry. They are still alive, I'm pretty sure. Anything extra I should do this year?
Not a ton y'all can do, guys. I'm sorry. There's just not. I got camellia at my house too. I've got 3 of them. One of them is literally bare sticks, bare. The other 2 still have about 30% of their leaves left.
Oh, boy.
Those 2 look okay. You can look down the stem and look at the buds. Okay, so the buds are the ones that are going to crack the new leaves. Those are like Caroline was just talking about with the fiddle leaf fig. There's a lateral leaf that goes this way, the main stem that goes this way, and then in between that is where your bud sits. So you can look at those buds and see if they look like they're intact. Now, camellia is not the most cold hardy plant on earth. Let's just be real, okay? There's varieties that are zone 7, some that are even zone 8, and then there's some that are like down to zone 6. So I bought some zone 6 varieties, and they, like I said, I think they're going to live. The one that's leafless, I look at its buds, and its buds on top do not look great, but I see down below that I think they are going to leaf back out. But that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to camellia. They are not as cold hardy. But like I said, if you're real worried, there's nothing you can do. I don't want you to cut anything. Like leave everything up because you need to see what you need to leave the sticks up so the buds can crack from them. So don't do anything yet, but just go out there and just rub them. Be nice to them.
Love on.
Yeah, I've got April remembered camellias.
Do you have a good thing?
I've got April remembered camellias in my backyard, and they got toasted. And I don't, we're almost certain there will be no flowers on them this spring. The bloom buds got frozen out.
Yes.
But
Leaf buds,
I'm
hopefully
pretty
they're
confident they're going to come back out. There's no particular rush, as you just said, to be cutting on them. Kind of let them tell you where they need to be cut, and then, we'll just cut them all back at that height where they look right in the landscape, and then everything will be good. It's just going to be a minute yet. We're getting closer, but we're still not quite there.
You know what? If you need some new ones this year, though, I bet I know a place where you can go to get them, David Bates.
Well, yes, we do have a few things that if you decided, what,
if it's dead and you want to replace it, you can get it. Where, David Bates?
You can come on out and see us here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where that if you have not been out here before, we by the way, this week the staff everybody here has done a great job of getting our lot back stocked again. So everything's been moved out. We look like a nursery once again, and additionally we have a large portion of our lot under a continuous covered structure. So you can literally go from the front garden center area all the way back into the greenhouse area and be in out of the rain in the event that
Take
happens.
that, rain.
Yes.
Yeah, and in addition to that, you'll have time to look at the new benches that have been constructed in the greenhouse
fencing
area.
and the arbors.
Joy Bovin and her team have done an incredible job on constructing those, and of course, we just continue to try to work at things. In addition to the pergola, you'll see out front that's been kind of Tyler's baby, and we've added another structure so we can add a couple of more checkouts during the busiest part of the season. So we're really trying to work towards being prepared to add to your shopping experience and minimize the amount of time you have to wait. Another thing you can do is maybe you just say, I don't want to get out there and fight the crowds or whatever when it's really busy. You could just go to our website, batesnursery.com. Everything we sell is searchable, and you can purchase and you can set it up for delivery right there online. So be it trees, shrubs, perennials, any of the things, all of these categories above, you can just go there and say you're interested in native trees. You just click on that. Everything we have in natives all comes up right there. And you just pick one, and there you go. It'll tell you all about it. This is Asculus is what I believe that is right there.
About what?
Yep.
Asculus, not what Bates can do for you. Just kidding. We can do a lot for you.
Yes, you can.
So anyway, but you can pull that up, and it gives you the price. That's of course that's a pretty substantial plant there, and it's not real small. So it's
15
doesn't
gallons.
have a small price, but you can set that up for delivery, and we've got 7 of them in stock. So Julie Patterson and her team in the purchasing and inventory department really does a great job at really trying to keep our inventory up to date so that you're assured of getting what you're wanting to get when you order it. And in addition to that, we do advise you to come out and see what we've got on hand, because we're constantly getting trucks in this time of year, multiple times a week.
Yep.
So it's hard to even, there's a lot of folks who come a couple of times a week just to see what we've gotten in. It changes very rapidly. So
they never help unload the trucks either, do they?
Well, we got people shopping stuff before we can even have it in the system sometimes. So it's a real challenge for our logistical side of receiving our materials and having them where they can be scanned and sold. So we'll work out the issues on that. We invite you to come out and see us, and we've got an incredible staff of landscape professionals. In addition to Carrie and Austin and Tyler, we have a whole host of other folks that we're privileged to get to work with, and they can, if you'll bring pictures along of your landscape area that you're working on, we'll do our best to help you get the right plant in the right place the first time, because that's the way we do it at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. We're celebrating our 91st year of business. So since 1932, we've been beautifying Nashville. We appreciate the opportunity we've been afforded to be a part of the Nashville area for all these many years, and we hope you'll come see us. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Very good.
Speaking of Bates Nursery, that's right. Hannah's asking, did you get a new shipment in of cactus and succulents? What'd you say, Caroline?
I was thinking, did we get any this week?
I don't know if we
didn't get any cacti or succulent in this week, but we probably will be getting some in next week. We'll be getting a large shipment of our mixed varieties, the 3.5 inch and 2 inch, that you can just buy at one set price. So, but if there's ever anything you're looking for in particular, you can always email us and let us know, and we can keep an eye out for that. So look for it next week.
Do we have more tickets to give away?
Yes, we do. And I was just about to mention that looking at the clock, we may need to call an audible. And if everybody's agreeable, I think we should extend the show by 15 minutes today. Is everybody down with that?
We can do that.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Y'all okay with it?
You okay?
Fine. We got like 20 questions left.
Yes,
yeah,
we do.
and we got to give away some tickets. So let's.
Okay.
And we got to visit with Randall some more. So
yes.
But ladies and gentlemen,
He's hanging
not
out.
talked about me yet. So.
Oh, okay. But
enough about me. So what do you think about me?
I think you're fine. Now, also, let's go ahead and get rid of the tickets, okay? Or get
let's do that.
Get those awarded.
We don't want to leave them
now
lying around.
These 4 pair, that's 8 tickets total. So 4 pairs of 2. That's how that works, right? We're good.
Yes.
The next 4 correct answers in order to this question. What is a timely tree that you would be seeing around in the landscape that is often referred to as the Great White Plague by me? Go. What's the name of that nasty tree? Okay.
Well, they should be gone by right about now.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We get a refresh here and see what's going on. But we'll go ahead with questions. Okay, Debbie got one. Debbie Murphy. James Robert Dearman got one.
Jane Gibbs
got one, and Risha got one. She was in
that
there.
was pretty quick.
Okay.
So fast.
Okay, so let's see here. Debbie Murphy Johnson. Okay, well, thank you folks for participating and playing. And you will pick your tickets up at the will call desk. And I bet that's moved too, hasn't it, Randall?
Yeah, well, it's right inside the front door now.
Okay.
We now are trying to modernize a little bit.
Uh-oh.
And we're selling tickets online, and we're selling tickets. We're trying to go cashless, but that has turned out to be a bit of an issue. But, but yeah, everything is, there's no big ticket booths out front. You just walk in the front door down, there's a table with folks there. And kiosks and stuff, you want to buy the ticket, you can buy it, and then you have it in your hand when you walk in the door, so you don't have to stand in line.
Speaking of online, you can reach that by going to Nashville Lawn and Garden Show.com. And all the show features, the community grants, frequently asked questions, the gallery, and contact information, and I'm pretty sure ticket information is in there as well.
It's in there.
So,
I just found it. So yeah, it's there. One thing we need to talk about is we've changed our hours, and I need to bring that up. Yeah, it's now 9 to 6. We were opening at 10. We would stay open to 7. We used to stay open until 10, but we're finding out that people don't seem to get out as late as they used to. Maybe they're all going to lunch. I mean, to dinner. I don't know, but we're going to try closing at 6 this year. But we're opening an hour early because we would have these lines form early, and just people would stand there for an hour. So
wow.
Now you still have a lot of garden club groups that bus in from other areas around Nashville, and they're the ones that typically arrive a bit early. I've seen over the years a lot of them lining up, so that affords them the opportunity to get on in and get to see the gardens before there's like huge groups of people, and because they're much more enjoyable to view if you're not looking around someone else. And it's a big area. There's plenty of room, but these hours do afford people who are early arrivals the chance to be able to see them with less competition.
Right. And gardeners tend to be early risers anyway, I think.
That's right.
So I think
they go to bed early too.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's right. And again, a lot of people are just have not been to the fairgrounds. So you may have seen Geoda's Stadium.
Geoda's Park.
Park on top of the hill. But
the soccer field.
At the bottom of the hill, there are these big, huge metal buildings, and that's where the show is now located. And has multiple entry areas, but you walk in the thing and you've got huge ceilings. We used to have those little buildings that had 10-foot ceilings. These things are probably 30 foot in the middle. So
now,
it's a whole different environment.
The buildings are down now where
Fair Park used to be.
Yeah,
the old Cascade Plunge.
Yeah, old
Cascade
Plunge. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly where they are.
Yeah, and you're old if you can remember.
That's right.
That.
For my time. All right.
I did jump off of it once from the 30-foot tower.
I never saw it. That's how, but
only
once. I
once.
know about the Ferris wheel was there.
Okay. We had
not the Ferris wheel, the roller coaster. The roller coaster was there.
Screaming Delta Demon?
The Skyliner.
The Skyliner.
Yeah. Okay. James wants to know, my bird's nest fern is losing fronds but not growing new ones. It sits near a bright window. Thoughts? Thanks.
Bird's nest fern. They do like to stay pretty
Don't bird's
wet.
nest ferns have feathers and not fronds?
Yeah, they're feathers. They can fly away, so you don't want that to happen with this bird's nest fern. So we need to keep it happy. I have a really, really large bird's nest fern that I hadn't repotted. Well, I have to be honest, I did let it die last year, so I don't have it anymore. It got way too big for my house, but I was having to just keep it in water.
You killed it?
Or water it every day. And so the way I watched it die,
mean.
it is mean. But when I let plants die, it is it's not cool, and it is a little bit cruel, but I can see what happens as they start to, shut down, and then I know what to talk about with them. And that's exactly what started happening with my bird's nest fern. So over the winter is when it happened. I was, like I said, having to water it every day or just keep it in a dish of water, and it would just soak it up almost immediately. Then I stopped watering it, and it started losing its older fronds, and then no new growth was coming out. So that's probably the issue with yours right now. The heat being on in your house is going to be super, super dry. So that bird's nest fern probably just needs a lot of humidity and a lot of watering. They're cool plants, but they get giant.
Do you have a plant dirge playlist that you put up when you're watching them die? Or
I should make that happen.
She's
I have
the
watched
Dexter
a lot of houseplants
man.
die.
Oh, every gardener that actually gardens and knows plants and does houseplants and grows them as all let some plants die. Let's be honest.
I just take them and throw them on the compost pile.
I do too.
I do that
throw them straight in the
sometimes.
woods.
But I
That's
usually
premeditated landscape aside there.
I usually wait till it's going to be really cold.
Yeah.
So it's a quick death.
Right.
So they don't suffer too
That's
much
right.
like mine do.
Okay.
All right. Can jacaranda trees grow in Nashville? What is your vote, jacaranda versus vinca, which seem to be very different plants? But
Yeah,
This is a
boy.
very interesting
No.
question.
yes, it is.
Jacaranda or
Most people probably don't even know
jacaranda?
what a jacaranda tree is.
Ooh.
If you go to Google and you Google it, it's literally the most photoshopped tree I think I've ever seen in my life. Now, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely stunning. They're beautiful
They
trees.
do have beautiful purple flowers.
They
yes.
do, and they're beautiful purple, almost blue flowers. It's a somewhat small growing tree, but no, they're typically native to Central America. They live out in Africa. They're actually a weed in Australia, like a noxious weed. They have a hard time keeping them in check in Australia. But we are a little chilly for jacaranda trees. So if you want to grow one, certainly fine. You can do that. But do know you're going to have to keep it in a pot. Now, comparative to vinca, I mean, vinca is, vinca's funny because there's a couple different plants we, use vinca for. One is this, small leaved ground cover that blooms. Another common name's periwinkle. It blooms this like light blue color, but it's a ground cover and it just kind of takes over an area if you'll let it. And then the other vinca is an annual flower here that's shades of typically pinks and whites that we use for like a hot sunny spot for annual color. So I'm not sure what you're talking about when it comes to the vinca, but
Maybe they want to plant it underneath the tree.
there you go.
That would be
lovely.
Okay, so look, let's plant a jacaranda tree in the yard. Let's put annual vinca underneath it, and then we'll all watch it die together.
Yes, yes. We'll set up a live cam, death cam, watch it go.
Beautiful zone 7.
I will say though, jacaranda in a container is not a bad idea because they are very easy to grow. Like they like it hot, they like it kind of dryish, but yeah,
That's why they do so well in Australia.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
they take over there.
Very good.
Hey, let's pivot to the Bates Facebook page. We got a
Okay.
question from Shelly.
Shelly,
I'm a newbie to strawberries. What are the top 3 things I need to know?
Cream, slice them.
Sugar.
Sugar. Yeah.
I think you're getting a little ahead of the game, Joe.
Oh,
Shelly, my biggest thing to you was it Shelly? Shelly.
Shelly.
Yes.
Shelly. Prep work. Okay. Strawberries are evergreen perennials here, and they send out runners. So they make a bed, a strawberry patch. We've all heard about this. Now, what happens with a strawberry patch? Weeds grow in between them, and they do it bad. So that can be highly annoying, and they make for a somewhat weedy mess if you do it out and out just in the dirt. The way I did it in college, we grew strawberries in college, and the best way that I saw that we did it, we mounded up soil, made this nice mound, and then we put black plastic over top of that and then cut holes in it to put our individual plants in. This kept the weeds from taking over, and the strawberries were able to grow on top of that black plastic and then down over this mound.
Excuse me.
Did you put straw, like wheat straw, on top of the black plastic?
And then wheat straw, and then plant into that. Now, there's a number of ways to you don't have to do it that way, but I'm just saying, do your prep work with strawberries first before you ever even plant them.
Really good. You've got places to go in Middle Tennessee, assuming Shelley's from Middle Tennessee. Murfreesboro, you can go to Beatty Farms. They have a beautiful place out there. John L's a great guy too, so see him out there. And then up in the entire district of Portland is a strawberry patch, or
As in, if you don't want to grow them.
right. What just to get an idea of what Austin's describing here,
yeah.
because those are they're primo outfits. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
So,
and they use black plastic in rows, don't
Yep,
they? I mean, I've seen
absolutely.
that before. Yeah.
I don't think John L uses the wheat straw on top of his though. But
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to.
right.
But
But if you don't do it in
burn.
August, you're going to want to
Right.
just plow it all up and say, I'm never doing that again, because the weeds will win. That's
Yes.
Austin's point.
yeah.
Weeds will. We do have a strawberry question over
Okay.
here on my end. Do you need to group multiple strawberry plants together like you do blueberry bushes?
if you're referring to pollination, then no. A single strawberry will produce fruit by itself. You don't have to do that. But like I was saying earlier, we typically plant strawberries in a patch, if you will. So getting multiple varieties out there. There's June-bearing strawberries. There's also ever-bearing strawberries that produce flowers and fruit whenever weather is right. But there's a lot of June producing ones as well. They really produce a heavy crop right around June. So getting a mix of different varieties is always a good idea, but you don't necessarily need that for fruit production.
10 or 12 years ago, then when the first edible landscaping was really starting to go, we planted some of the ever-bearing strawberries as a border plant, and I still have one of them.
Yeah.
And they're incredibly tough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hardy plant. And there's some pruning that needs to be involved with strawberries as well. I can go way into depth on that, but I'm not going to do that here because it will take too long.
Okay,
But-
we've entered the bonus portion of the at-home show.
Oh,
here.
wow.
Bonus round.
Bonus round. So we have 14 more minutes of this show to
We are
complete.
over
gosh.
time.
Yes.
All right. When do we plant veggies? Since it's so warm, I'm questioning Mother's Day. I always wait till Mother's Day.
Question it all you can.
Don't forget
But
your mama, though.
It's wild weather here in
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah, and you can wait till May if you want. You can go earlier. Some farmers are planting in March, and not even farmers, just people. Just planting in March and then just watching weather. I mean, you can certainly do that. You're not going to see much growth though until the ground typically warms up. So that's why here in Middle Tennessee, we're usually an April 15th type of people. That's usually our annual last frost-ish
Average.
date average. Yeah. So that's kind of the timing we usually say. But if you want to try to get a jump on it and get them set out, you can. Just be weather aware. If we have a cold night or two and you set your tomatoes out,
Bump.
you can
Might
see
be
them
gone.
go.
They'll
And
go
then
fast.
Then you'll be back to buy some more.
So speaking of tomatoes and peppers, what is your favorite companion plant for those?
Basil.
I do plant basil with mine.
Basil and marigold.
Yep.
Basil and marigolds. But
Those
any
are my
herb, really.
go-tos.
Putting herbs around stuff is always a good idea as well. Or using any annuals, pretty up that vegetable garden.
Pretty it on up.
Pretty it up.
That's right.
You got to.
Tyler, do you have any questions on your end?
No, it's gotten quiet over here.
Well,
Thank
Missy,
you, everybody, for your
Missy's
contribution.
asked a question, but I'm not sure exactly what it is that she wants to know. She says, roses?
Question mark?
Do we
Question
like
mark?
them? Do we cut them? Are they alive?
It might have been
Who
related to
says?
some other question we were answering. So if we get some context, we'd be happy to jump in.
It would have been about the time about the trimming that we were. That
Probably
just
pruning
dropped in there.
roses.
Maybe. Or when we're going to get them. I don't know. I mean, we're still a huge supplier of your really cool roses, y'all. Floribundas, the hybrid teas, all those big, heavy petal count flowers, fragrant ones, climbing ones. We still sell.
And if you heard Julie,
Ones with English
speak of
accents.
when those will be in,
Typically
think-
first week of April. Last year, I think it was the second week of April they came in. So it's always that early April time that they come in. We've got a large shipment that's going to come in. It's always one of my favorite days of the year. I'm usually going home bloody at the end of the day because handling roses is not fun.
Your
but
eyes light up though when
they
that
do.
truck rolls in.
And
Austin
she
just,
did, and she
wow.
did. She did clarify when do we trim. Depending upon what they are, if they're knockouts, probably gonna get flowers next week.
Seriously.
No kidding.
We've
My
got
knockout
roses
was
here on the lot. What?
Oh, I just said my knockout looks terrible right now.
Yeah, so does mine, but it's still popping bud.
I don't have any
yeah,
bud, no
really?
leaves, nothing.
Really? Mm-hmm. All my roses are leafing out early this year. We've got some roses on the lot. We just moved out onto the lot, out into the sunshine, and there's some climbing roses called Don Juan, which is an old school red climber.
Ooh.
Don Juan.
They've got flower buds on them. They're literally about to crack like this week. But anyway, over the winter time is when you want to prune.
Okay. Quickly before we go to talk to Randall, we need an explanation as to where David Bates has been for the last 3 weeks. Now, there's a rumor running around that you were offsite at the Groom Lake facility running some sort of balloon program.
No, that
you're neither
confirmed nor
confirmed-
denied that one, Josh.
Sounds like
but
something greatly exaggerated to me.
we were a dear mutual friend of Randall's and mine, Steve Searles, celebrated his 75th birthday.
Wow.
And nobody throws a party like Steve. There was about 110 of us that went on this ship through the Panama Canal,
Wow.
or as they say in Espanol, La Canal de Panama. And so I got to go through the locks of the Panama Canal, and then we went
Are they all keyed
up the
alike?
coast of Panama on into Costa Rica
Oh.
and to Capos. And so it was a very enjoyable trip. Of course, you're at or near the equator, so it was nicely warm and sunny. And so I did take that in and some other little side trips. I got to see a national park in Costa Rica
With
where
a
we got
volcano?
to see some very interesting animals, some dormant volcanoes.
Oh,
But
that's no fun.
got to see some interesting animals, various types of monkeys.
Mike Allison on this
it was a
trip
really
too?
great trip. A lot of birds. I think everyone enjoyed it. It was quite good.
Oh, okay. But no balloon program.
No, balloons that far south, are just going to kind of follow along the
boat?
equator. So,
Oh, okay.
I can profess no attachment to any balloon that
Yeah.
might have gone out.
Right. Okay. We're good with that. And now, folks, it is an annual thing. I actually had a memory show up from 2014 where we were at a certain station over there off of Demumbrian that Randall and David and I were celebrating the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show. That was 2014.
Yeah.
So, I know that wasn't the first one. So, it just happens to be the one that we could actually. I think I joined social media about that period of time is when we started jumping things up. But next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the fairgrounds is the surest sign that spring is around the corner. And
Absolutely.
and there's going to be all kinds of good stuff. Go out to the website, Nashville lawnandgardenshow.com. You can get your tickets early. Tyler, do you have our winners again? Now, again, these are the people that answered the questions and where they're going to pick their stuff up, because there's two that have to pick them up here at the nursery.
So June and Kay will be picking them up at Bates.
Here.
And we have yet to receive our promotional tickets yet, so don't rush over just yet.
Okay.
We'll probably address that next week, early next week
those.
before the show.
Mike, give us a call before you come out.
Exactly. Give us a call.
It's worth the drive from anywhere, though, so if you got to come back, it'll be great.
It is, and it's nice to look at right now.
Yes.
It's easy on the eyes. Debbie, James, Jane, and Risha, y'all will just head to the Lawn and Garden Show, and your tickets will be available at Will Call.
Your will call, which is right inside the front door. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very
that's
good.
the process there. Tanya's asking, raised beds or in the ground best for vegetables?
Yes.
Either way
is
fine. I'm an in-ground kind of guy.
I'm an above ground guy.
That's right.
I'm a little bit of both kind of guy.
There you-
And I love
you go.
pools and garden beds.
Yeah.
But either way, totally fine.
He's younger than I am. That's why I like the raised beds. You
know,
don't have to bend over quite as far to get everything.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And you're talking cost. It's going to be a little bit more costly to raise bed garden.
Definitely. You're going to have to pull more weeds in the ground, typically. You're still going to have to pull weeds in raised beds, but in the ground, there's something.
And we've heard from some people, if you have mold problems, in the ground is going to be a little difficult unless you put hardware cloth under like your raised bed or use EarthMix and Lighten. So, you know.
But, yeah, there you go.
Then Nina on YouTube's asking.
Now, Diane, no, excuse me. I'm sorry. We need to clarify something here. Diane, I think, Randall, can we give away one more pair?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Diane, you may have been technically second on the Facebook page for the At Home Show, but we had another winner that was just moments, nanoseconds ahead of you.
We're currently monitoring our.
So we will, in all goodwill, thank you, Randall, for doing this.
No problem.
You will have a pair of Diane Jefferson Kitchen Tomlinson. You'll have a pair at the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show will call desk as well. Contests are hard, folks. Come on, especially when we're on all multiple things. So.
Yep.
Okie doke.
So Nina's asking, what do you think about the bokashi composting method? Is it worth it? That's fermenting meat and veggies and everything in a big bucket together.
And making kimchi out of it?
Doesn't gross.
And it's an anaerobic type of composting method also. Somewhere back in the files of our YouTube videos, I have a webinar that we have of the bokashi composting method. And you can literally put a whole turkey in there over the period of some passage of time. It will break down. I'm not sure it's the type of composting method that most people will gain the most benefit out of. Certainly things such as the humates, humic acid's the same thing. Those things are developed or partly formed from the amino acids and fats and all that come from decomposing animal matter. So there is a place for it in horticulture, agriculture, but
sounds stinky.
I think it's a bit much for most people to undertake.
Just come get some supernatural, man. Goodness gracious.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot easier. But bokashi does work, and we'll try to dig that out. It is back there somewhere. You could probably go to our YouTube page and just put that in there and see what you come up with.
And while you're there, discover all the other cool Bates Nursery webinars we have.
Yeah, buddy. There were some
We
cool ones
got
this
a bunch.
week.
How many would you estimate we have on there now?
A little
Tyler?
over 100 now.
Yep. So quite a lot.
It's a lot of information. You could probably be watching one for the next few days if you wanted to marathon them.
Sounds fun.
Well, yeah, buddy.
Caroline, are we good on questions?
We're good on questions.
Oh,
We completed all of those.
Okay. Well, let's do our big finish here with Randall. Nashville Lawn and Garden Show.
Well, Sounds of Spring, Nashville Lawn and Garden Show, Thursday through Sunday this coming week. We start working on Monday. We go to work on Monday, setting the thing up. It's great to come to the Nashville Fairgrounds, the Fairgrounds Nashville, as it's currently called. If you haven't been there, it's worth a visit just to come and see what all has been done. The show's going to be very good. We've got good lectures. We got floral displays. We've got designer gardens in display. We've got people in marketplace, as we call the marketplace, selling things. You can buy plants. You can buy bird feeders.
Get something to eat.
Something to eat. And the last few years, the food has actually been really good. In fact, I've eaten almost every meal there, and that I would not have said that a few years ago. So, well, whatever. And today I'm going to the flea market to kind of check things out. So we are. It's looking good. We hope that you'll come and see us. If you can buy your ticket online, it'll save you from having to stand in line at the ticket areas. On the other hand, you're undercover now. Right. The way that the fairground's set up, the lines are all undercover. So. Nashville Lawn and Garden Show, Sounds of Spring, this week, Thursday through Sunday, 2nd through the 5th, Fairgrounds Nashville.
Right there at Nashville Lawn and Garden Show.com. There's a little it says buy tickets now. You can just click on that. Makes life really easy.
Makes life very easy. And yeah, let's say there's a little fee on that, but I think everybody that does that now, any show you go to, it's become that way, and it just makes things really, really easy when you do that. You can walk right in.
Very good.
There you go.
Thank you very much,
Randall. Thank you for joining us again this year.
This is fun.
And thank you for being still around. We didn't talk about it. Because Randall had a pretty substantial heart attack.
Well,
how long ago was it, Randall?
It was 6 weeks ago.
There wasn't a thumping
6 weeks ago. So we're really, really glad to have you in studio, my friend. I really value our friendship all these great many years.
Thanks.
You're a real treasure to Nashville, and the horticulture people and the horticultural acumen of Nashville would be greatly reduced without your presence in it.
That's too nice.
You are a treasured friend, and you just hang in there. Well, we need you, buddy.
Yeah, you got to come back next year anyway. All righty, folks.
Thank you much.
We are out of time. We appreciate you putting up with us.
Version.
And an extra 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We've got encore azaleas in here that you got to come out and see at the nursery. All these beautiful flowers and stuff are all available for you here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And you don't know what's going to happen next Saturday morning, David Bates? We're going to have another at-home show.
We'll just be right here.
Yeah, we'll be right here for you. We'll see you then. Hey, go out to the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show, and we might hear from Randall next week again too. See you then.
Okay.
Good heavens.
Bye bye.